Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Coming up in this segment, Konrad has the car clinic. We talk with the CEO of an electric truck company called AYRO, and we'll have this week's automotive news. That and more just ahead. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars, King Konrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. And we have a special guest with us right now. He's the CEO of the electric truck company AYRO, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, Rod Keller. Rod, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, did I pronounce it right, AYRO?
You did. It's spelled a little odd with AYRO, but it is pronounced AYRO.
That's what I kind of figured, and I like it. But we like different here on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
Yes, we do.
So tell me a little bit about, tell me a lot. How is this? You're the CEO. Did you start the company?
No, but I had been in the electric vehicle space before. I'm sure you're probably familiar. You probably remember the brand Segway.
Yes.
I had been the CEO of Segway before, moved back to my hometown of Austin in 2015. And in 2017, I read about a company that was building electric vehicles focused primarily on last mile delivery. Reached out to the founder and was very surprised to find out that he already had a supply chain and a vehicle in place, which was the hardest part. Building sales, marketing, finance, operations, assembly, that was much easier. And that's how I found out about it, and I've been here now almost 4 years.
Wow. Well, where are you in getting this truck up and running, or is it already?
Yeah, it is. In fact, our business is very, very strong. As I said, we really started the company in 2017. And I think what's unique and a little bit different about us is we like to say that we build purpose-built vehicles. They are automotive grade. They're street legal. But when I say that, I think it's important to understand that the particular truck I'm talking about is designated in all 50 states as a low-speed vehicle. What that means is, yes, you can drive it on public roads, but low-speed vehicles are limited to up to 25 miles per hour, and you can drive them on public streets with speed limits of no greater than 35. The primary applications for these, where we do well, is in low-speed logistics, cargo services. We sell quite a few that are configured for mobile hospitality on universities, corporate campuses. A lot of the NFL stadiums use it. Because remember, being electric, you can drive this actually indoors. Can't do that with gas-powered vehicles. Sell to a number of the VA hospitals, a lot of hotels and resorts. And COVID was actually a silver lining for us because it accelerated the need to reduce your cost of delivery, because many people were using companies like Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats, and now they've got an alternative to deliver and reduce those costs significantly.
So tell me a little bit more about the truck. How big is the truck? Is it like a half ton size or smaller?
Yeah, let me pull up a picture. I'll show you what it looks like.
Perfect.
Whoop. No, they've got me disabled where I can't pull it up.
Yeah, we'll get that fixed. We'll get Mars to.
I think Rod's trying to do it on his end.
Yeah,
We have
but
to
I
give him
got to make
permission.
sure we got ours on our end.
Oh, I see.
Try it again, Rod.
We've got a lot of
There we
ends.
go. Let me. Here we go. Okay. This is what it looks like. These are two. It comes actually in three different. Can you see it, by the way?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, the truck on the left, about 60% of our sales, this vehicle is configured with a pickup bed. As you can see, the sides and the back obviously drop down, makes it much easier when, take a university, they're loading chairs and their tables and they're moving them from one dorm to another. Much easier than having to lift it over the top of that. The one on the right is a van box, about 40% of our sales in that. We do have a flatbed configuration, but not very many we sell in a flatbed. But where we do particularly well, most often where we win with this vehicle is where we're replacing a gas or a diesel-powered pickup truck or a van. There's really three advantages to it. There's physical and economic and environmental advantages. From a physical perspective, it's about 30% more narrow, so it's a little bit easier to traverse some narrow passages. And you can use it, as I said, indoors, not only outdoors. It's got about a 38% better turning radius. It's got better maneuverability. And the volume itself it's about half the weight of a typical gas vehicle that you would see. Obviously, a lot of people are going to look, well, what's the economic advantage? Why would I go do this? When you compare it, it's about a 49% reduction in annual operating expense when compared to a typical entry-level Ford F-150. And of course, last one, obviously, when you get 100% reduction in CO2.
Well, and
it's got some significant advantages, and you typically don't need a full-size truck if you're moving cargo. A great example, you guys are probably, since you're in Houston, probably familiar with Circuit of the Americas,
right?
In Austin, 1,600 acres of paved asphalt. They don't need something to go 70 miles an hour for 400 miles. They cut their cost in half, and they have quite a number of these vehicles they use to move stuff around on their campus there.
So let's talk about how long the battery lasts, how do you charge it, that sort of thing.
Yep. Let me pull this back up. Good questions. There's two versions of it. We have what's called a VRLA, which is basically much like a marine battery, maintenance-free, has a range of about 57 miles, does not require a Type 2 charger like you would see typically with lithium, plugs right into a 110 outlet. And has a range, as I said, about 57 miles. But again, because it's an LSV, it's limited to 25 miles an hour.
So it's more like a golf cart.
No, because it's street legal. Golf cart's typically not street legal, and the golf cart typically won't drive, 57 miles of range. But we sell this through primarily two channels, and I think I'll explain to you. One, if you've ridden in a golf cart, you're probably familiar with Club Car.
Sure.
Club Car has over 500 dealers in the U.S. All the dealers are authorized to sell this. But in a couple of weeks, we're announcing what we call the NCM version. That's a lithium version. And a few things happen with that. It increases the range from 57 miles to about 95 miles. In addition to that, typical charging of a lead-acid battery would be 6 to 8 hours. But with lithium, it's about 3 hours. Now, that does require a Type 2 charger.
Right.
Well, it sounds like you got a total winner here, but like you said, it's really for very specific applications. I'm thinking, as you display here, a warehouse setting, perhaps a university.
Campus setting.
Right. Yeah. Or any kind of a campus type setting, right. that you would need something to haul stuff around, like the maintenance man.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Or
the events person who's
setting
up chairs,
where your daughter works,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
When he was describing the one on the left there with the sides that fold down, what I thought of
golf course.
The NFL has a golf cart that's kind of set up like that. Whenever they go out and get somebody off the field,
they just throw the body in the back.
And this would be bigger. Yeah, you could just throw the body up in the back, and you could have all kinds of stuff up there with it.
I got you,
guys. I'll tell you one other application, and we didn't expect to take off as fast as it did. Is really mobile hospitality. We have a partner in Colorado called Gallery Carts, and they're kind of the preeminent supplier of mobile hospitality vehicles to many of the stadiums and universities. And if you've ever gone to a sporting event and you look at the cup of whatever you bought to drink, it probably says Aramark or it says Sodexo on it. And what those companies are doing now, they own the big food and beverage contracts for all the stadiums and all the universities, but the universities are saying, hey, you still own food and beverage, but you better find a way to get it to our students without forcing them into the dining halls. So Gallery Carts is now taking this vehicle and using it as a platform to build mobile hospitality, and they configure it in the van box like you see here on the right, and they load it with all the hot and cold infrastructure and then sell it to companies like Einstein Bagels, who now deploy it on university campuses because they know exactly how many students are coming out and what time they're coming out and
where they're coming out.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the drink girl on the golf course.
Yes, the beer cart.
Or a mini food truck that on campus, and one of the beautiful things is the size and the weight of this, it's going to be more able to travel on pedestrian sidewalks without doing damage than having to be on the road surface, so they can get into different parts of the campus to serve the community.
And that's exactly right. And that's why we've seen a big increase in our sales of this vehicle for that exact reason.
Interesting.
So, Rod, where are you building these?
So up until the month of June, we were building them, many of our parts, they're all DOT certified parts. They come from our supply chain outside of Shanghai. And we had been doing assembly in Round Rock, suburb of Boston. But because the transit time coming from Shanghai goes across the Pacific, goes through the Panama Canal, goes in the Gulf of Mexico, comes into Houston, goes through customs, gets to Austin, takes 33 days. Last August, we signed an agreement with Karma. You probably remember Fisker.
Yes.
When Fisker went under in 2014, they were acquired by Wan Chong. and Wanchong rebranded it Karma.
Right.
And now they have their luxury EV factory in Moreno Valley. And they're now doing, not only building their own luxury EVs, but they're doing final assembly. So instead of the 33 days it takes to get to me coming from Shanghai, it now ships from Shanghai straight into Long Beach, trucks at 62 miles over their factory, cut my transit time in half and reduce my freight cost. So the long answer to your question is we're now building these at Karma's factory in Moreno Valley, California.
Are you going to move to California?
No, we're staying here. But
good move.
California, if you took all of the installed EVs in the U.S., California has more than the other 49 states combined. So it's nice that we're already there because we can reduce the freight cost of delivering these to customers that are looking for their commercial applications.
Yeah, it's a big part of the market right there where you're at now.
Well, it's just the bringing it in.
So this is primarily to feed the commercial market, so to speak. Any plans on doing, and I say this because my son lives in San Francisco, any plans on doing a passenger version of this that could be driven in urban areas where you're probably not going to exceed 25 miles an hour, in some of these downtown communities?
We are myopically focused on commercial and last mile delivery.
Okay.
At some point we may consider that, but as we all know what happens in early stage companies, there's going to be a lot of consolidation. There's going to be some people that get squeezed out. And we are very, very focused and like to say we are driven to deliver. That is exclusively what we're focused on right now. We are developing another vehicle, a three-wheeled electric vehicle, primarily focused on delivery for restaurants, farm, and grocery, that we'll announce later this year and then go into production next year. In fact, you probably know one of the companies we're working with on the development. You're probably familiar with Roush Industries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working with Roush on the development of this next generation vehicle.
So do you have in your plans for the future any type of an autonomous driving feature to this?
That's a good question. We may. We are not right now. If we do, it's more like to be a vehicle. We like to call it a train without a track, where it's making scheduled deliveries.
Right.
Just like you might see on a college campus. But right now, our near-term focus is to take advantage of both the commercial opportunities I described here, as well as the challenge that restaurateurs are faced with when delivery went through the roof relative to what it was before COVID. And now they're trying to figure out how to reduce their dependence on Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats.
Right, because they eat, Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber eats profits for the restaurant, and Uber makes the money, but not the restaurant. They just serve
They're taking it well, and they were willing to live with that when delivery was only about 10% of their business. But with COVID, delivery in some cases went as much as 40 or 50%, and they're giving up a third of the total ticket to those aggregators that deliver for them.
Yeah. So now you're talking about a serious chunk of change.
Yep.
Well, great idea.
They lose control of the experience. They lose the opportunity to have a rolling billboard for them. Right. We're in deep discussions with a number of the big quick service restaurant chains.
Rod, what's MSRP on one of those?
It ranges depending on whether from a flatbed, it'll be about 18, 19K, up to about 25 for a fully configured van box.
It's actually not bad considering the alternatives to it and the fact that it can get into places on, and I say campus not necessarily being universities, but campus as far as any large business, but it's able to get into places on campuses that a full-size vehicle is not.
Well, because it's green, too.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I'm thinking...
No, they're white.
Down here at the refineries, we've got so many refineries down there in the area that... there's certain places that you can't go in a full-size vehicle just because of the pipe racks and things. And then you've got, like you said, it's electric and it's not gasoline. They don't want the fumes and stuff in there. And I can see where, that could be another place that these vehicles could show up.
I was thinking airport, but that wouldn't be cost-effective because the airport's always constantly moving. And with charging factors and things, I don't think the airport would be good.
I'll tell you one other thing. Earlier this year, we announced an electric vaccination vehicle because obviously there's some people that just can't get to some of the vaccination sites.
That's a true EV.
Instead of forcing them to find them, you can take this vehicle to them. Right? We hesitated a little bit just because, one, yes, we understand the need, but the sales cycle through the government, as you might expect, is pretty long. Nonetheless, the CDC, FEMA are looking at it right now. And the nice thing about this vehicle, it's narrow enough you could drive it indoors. You can drive it inside a gymnasium to complement vaccinations that are being given to the public.
Right.
So, we're optimistic there may be some
Yeah,
opportunity.
like you say, just right there where you're at in that picture. You go in the warehouse, you load it up, and you go out. You don't ever have to do it outside in the weather, whatever that is.
Very cool.
Have you hit up Circuit of the Americas? Offer a fleet for them up there?
Well, Circuit of Americas already has. In fact, we're the official electric vehicle of Circuit of the Americas.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good. That also is a nice billboard for you, too, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, Rod, it's a pleasure talking to you. And, if you ever make it to Houston, be sure and stop by and say hello to us.
Wonderful. And same goes for you. You're welcome to come visit our headquarters here in Round Rock.
Well, we appreciate that and wish you the best of luck, my friend, and let us know if we can be of assistance.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Rod Keller, CEO
Cool.
of the electric truck company AYRO. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Very, very cool. And I didn't realize that something like that was based in Round Rock.
I had no clue.
That it was based that close. But it kind of makes sense considering so much of the tech industry is Austin, Round Rock, that whole general area.
Keep
up there.
Austin weird.
Well,
Or electric.
Kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
hello, Buzz.
Yeah, right. All right. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Show, and we thank you for riding with us today. Time now for Konrad's Car Clinic. We're a little bit early, but
Well, that's okay.
I thought that,
He's gonna run over.
You always have more to offer than we have time for. Well, guess what? Now we got the time.
And I did a short one. No, I didn't.
You never do short.
He doesn't know the meaning of the word.
We've been talking about transmissions. We talked about first CVTs, then dual clutch transmissions. Last week was slush box or the standard automatic transmissions, and today we're going to talk about the Koenigsegg light speed transmission.
More trannies.
So the Koenigsegg Jesco is a $2.85 million vehicle before options, about $4 million fully loaded.
What is this, a race car?
Koenigsegg builds a extremely high level, what's called a hypercar.
Yeah.
So it's got a 16.
Erotic.
It's got
exotic.
Yes.
Both.
It's got a 1,600 horsepower twin turbo V8 in it. But why do they call it light speed? It will shift gears in 2 milliseconds. Now, the blink of an eye is 15 milliseconds. So if you think about 2 milliseconds, it's that much faster. Now I'll wait because I know everybody's blinking their eye to see how fast that is. But
How the hell does it do that?
that's
Is it a mechanical?
It's a mechanical transmission. And it's called Ultimate Power on Demand. Depending on the vehicle speed and dynamics, it can shift gears up or down. Now, this is actually a 9-speed transmission, and in reality, it is 2 3-speed transmissions that are run parallel.
That's only 6 speeds.
No, it's
And
not.
what happens
It's
if you're
9.
cockeyed?
It's 9 because on the way that this works, on gear 1, you have gear 1-4, gear 1-5, gear 1-6. And then on gear 2, it's gear 2-4, gear 2-5, gear 2-6, and then gear 3-4, gear 3-5, and gear 3-6. So they actually get 9 speeds out of
Only
it.
you could come up with some crap like that nobody can understand.
Well, it's 3 times 3, not 3 plus 3.
Well, you need to get your in-wheel time decoder ring to figure that out.
So it's a 9-speed transmission. It has 7 clutches. So each of those 6 gears has an electro-hydraulic clutch.
Sir, I'd
attached
like to
it.
get my 9-speed automatic transmission serviced. How much is that going to cost? $1
$80
million?
billion.
Well, very well might. But it's basically 2 3-speed transmissions that are connected through these 7 clutches, and then there's an 8th clutch for reverse gear.
Sure there is.
All of the gears are always meshing, so you don't have a synchronizer that has to slide in with a blocking ring or anything. None of that's there. When the computer, because the transmission technically is quite simple. The computer is quite complex because the computer is going to apply two clutches, the clutch on gear 1 and the clutch on gear 4, and that's going to give you a drive forward. And then as the ratios change and you're clutching on gear 1 and clutching on gear 4, 5, or 6, that's the first 3 speeds in it. And then it can go from a very high ratio gear, which would be like first gear, all the way up to 9th, depending on what the driving situation is, dynamics are, or it can go from a very cruising gear speed, like gear 8, and all the way down to gear 2 if you whack the throttle and want to accelerate real hard with 1,600 horsepower. That'd be real easy to do. If you think about the difference in that...
You can't put 1,600 horsepower to the ground.
Well, you can with electronic throttle management
or
and
traction
like I said, yes.
quarter mile.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of this is it doesn't have to shift sequentially. You know, when you look at an automatic transmission, let's say it's a 5-speed, 6-speed automatic, it's going to shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
yep.
And that's the nature of how it works.
And it sucks.
And a CVT transmission, well, yeah, because that's where you get into that shift busyness that you don't like of some of
it
these.
drives you insane.
Where you know
in between.
It down hicks, and then all of a sudden you're over revving. Where CVT, where that acceleration is linear,
yeah.
But at DCT you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So in this you can go 2 to 8, 8 to 7, 8 to 4. 7 to 3, you know, it'll bounce all around, but it takes a quite complex computer to do that. This is what is called a 3-shaft transmission, as opposed to a slush box that's a 1-shaft transmission, where if you looked at it, it's just 1 shaft that goes all the way through the transmission, or dual clutch, which is a 2-shaft transmission. The Koenigsegg Lightspeed transmission is the 3-shafter. Genius.
I get the shaft any way I look at it.
Well, through the 2, it's a double penetration type thing.
Genius in design. Oh, my gosh. Genius in design. Complex in application. But I really see this as they develop this more, and Koenigsegg develops more and more of this, where they're going to be able to bring the price down and put it into the automotive field elsewhere besides in a $4 million car. But this high-dollar car, the technology, I believe, is going to be adaptable to
How many
lower
Koenigseggs
price.
do they make a year?
Maybe 100.
If that.
Oh, yeah, seriously. And through the years, they've made some pretty wild cars.
Dude, it's like, wow, look at that thing.
You know, but that's the nature of a $4 million car, like Pagani or Pagani. I don't know how you
Pagani, yeah, tomato.
You know, again, they build less than 100 vehicles a year, but they build a super hyper car. But that's where
that
a lot
super
of the
blondie chick always gets to drive those things.
it doesn't.
I don't like that.
But that's where the technology starts, because price is not an objectionable at that level of performance. And then as it's developed, those technologies will come into the automotive field. You got to look at a lot of these hybrid car technology has come from the road and gone to Formula One, because Formula One is an electric hybrid boost, and now some of that technology is coming back to the road. So, you know, this race on Sunday, sell on Monday philosophy is still there. It's just taking a little bit longer time to get it on the road. But this Koenigsegg Lightspeed transmission, I think, is going to be a transmission of the future because of the gear ratio choices it can make.
But you wouldn't need something like that with an electric.
No, you wouldn't, because with an electric, you just drive the motor and you have 100% torque at the hit, and depends on how...
Do electric motors blow up because of RPM?
Probably could. I don't know that they would, because there's, you know, the moving parts is really just the rotor of it. And then as it comes out the back, I'm sure there's, you know, like in the Tesla, there's some gearing and differential assemblies and stuff.
So this transmission was specifically designed for this particular car,
correct?
1,600 horsepower. What about like the Miata I just reviewed, or the Lexus he did? Are they going to have to obviously take things out of it?
Could it be adaptable to that price range car? Absolutely, it could be. But again, starting at a $4 million car is a little easier than starting at a $20,000
Some of the
car.
headlines we got for you today. Ford Motor Company started offering voluntary buyouts to some employees in the U.S. as part of the automaker's plan to cut approximately 1,000 positions and reconfigure staffing for growth. The automaker indicated it's reshaping its workforce to match skills and positions it needs to transform its business. The buyout program includes 6 months of salary and 6 months of health care benefits for workers who opt in, per Ford Authority, which first reported the news of the buyouts on Thursday.
Been there, done that.
Got 6 people working there.
Still have the knife in my back.
Yep.
Let me get that out for you, buddy.
Toyota Motor Company's research arm said that they purchased a Carmera, which is a company that provides maps and data for driverless vehicles, making the Japanese car their latest investment in autonomous technology.
Speaking of, Toyota Motor North America has opted to axe, don't axe me, axe the large Avalon sedan after the 2022 model year.
Not surprised. Not surprised because
U.S. sales of the Avalon rose 37% to 10,000 whopping numbers during the first half of 2021 compared with the pandemic-forced shutdowns of a year ago, but it only beat the Nissan Maxima in the dwindling large car segment through the first 6 months of the year and badly trailed the segment-leading Dodge Charger 4-1. The death of the Avalon will leave only the Charger, Chrysler 300, and Maxima in the once large and lucrative big sedan segment.
Well, I hope you guys get one. I saw, I guess it was a 2022 Chrysler 300 on a transport truck the other day. I was impressed. They made a front and rear end change to that. Beautiful change to it. So I'm assuming that's going to be in your pile of stuff to drive here shortly as the brand new Chrysler 300.
I haven't. Mars, have you heard anything about
No, I
Chrysler
haven't.
300? Because it's the only car. Well, they got the Chrysler Pacifica, but that's it.
Yeah, but that's a minivan. You can't really count that as a car.
But they really don't have a luxury vehicle per se anywhere. So are they going to keep the Chrysler brand just for one car?
I think there's some history with the Chrysler brand, which is the reason I think they're going to try and hang on to it.
So you heard Toyota sold the 10 millionth Camry built in Kentucky last week.
Well, congratulations to them.
The 2021 Toyota Camry SE rolled off the assembly line, and they've been building cars in Georgetown, Kentucky since for 35 years.
Oh, they've been making bourbon there too for a long time.
Quick break now. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Show. Back in a flash. We all know about aftermarket and online parts stores, and each one has something to offer, but they don't offer original factory parts. That's where Bayway comes in. For original factory parts, visit the Bayway stores first. Give them a call or stop by. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln carry a complete line of parts for the do-it-yourselfer. Keeping your newer classic original means a lot, and you can count on these fully stocked parts departments to help keep it that way. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln, keeping it original. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in returns Saturday, August 21st at 2 Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in. Tailpipes and Tacos at Loopy's inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in at Loopy's in Katy and Kirby, August 21st, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty.
Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The in-wheel time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.